Hi, I'm Howland Bickerstaff, and I'm on Musicians on the Record. So, here we go.
1, 2, 3, 4. This is huge, musicians on the record. Bring it on.
Speaking of playing with talented people, you're in a couple of bands now. Can you tell us about The Substitutes and Misspent Youth?
Okay. Misspent Youth is the band that I got into first before the Substitutes.
Okay.
And it's a 5-piece band, 2 guitars, bass, drums, and a lead vocalist.
Okay.
And we do 60s, 70s, and 80s covers,
Yeah, great.
primarily, and 1 or 2 originals.
Yeah, nice.
And great bunch of guys. We've got, in that band, we've got a police lieutenant.
Wow.
We've got, did you North Yarmouth Police?
Is that right?
Lieutenant, yeah, Lieutenant Dean Perry. and a large animal vet.
Wow.
Tom Judd plays drums.
Great.
And let me see who else is in there. Another guy who's an attorney, Tim, and Glenn, who is our lead vocalist. Glenn Perry is Dean's older brother.
Wow.
So he sings the vocals.
Nice.
And we have tons of fun with that band. We're playing, we play locally once a month roughly now at a club called Seasons in Portland,
Okay. Yeah.
which is right near exit 48
Nice.
behind the Marriott.
Nice.
It used to be a restaurant called Varillo's
Yes. Yeah.
back in the day,
Sure.
but now they're under new management.
Yeah.
But we have fun there.
Yeah.
And the Substitutes, I got asked to be in, which was kind of nice. One of the guys in the band said, "I've had my eye on you for a couple of years,
Wow. Cool.
but you know the band wasn't quite ready, but then the band became ready, and
Okay.
and we got a chance to talk with you and say, hey, come play with us, see what you do. Here's a set list, see what you think." And
Yeah.
and they're more 60s and 70s
Okay.
stuff. Beatles, a lot of Stones, Tom Petty.
Nice.
And again, that's the same pretty much as far as personnel, as far as what they do. It's 2 guitars, bass, drums,
Okay.
and a lead vocalist. Todd Erickson, lead vocalist. Sam Anderson is incredible. He's a great rhythm guitar player, a great singer, and he's the Wikipedia of music.
Is that right?
I mean, this guy knows who played what, where, when, why, how, what instrument they used, all that other
What, the
stuff.
third song on the B
Yes.
side,
Yes,
1972.
he's got it all up here. And Pete Weber on drums. I mean, Pete is just killer drummer. He hits them hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
He
We
hits
like
them
that.
hard,
We like
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And Greg on bass. Greg is more my age, which is great. He's a retired school teacher.
Nice.
And he plays in another band too, down in southern Maine.
Okay.
So those are the 2 bands, and I think the Substitutes are doing slightly fewer club gigs now, and I think doing more. They're going to be doing more, maybe with some more functions like weddings and other things.
Yeah.
So
great.
we'll see what happens with those. But like I said, about once a month with Misspent Youth, and I think roughly once a month or so with the Substitutes, because everybody's got a life.
Sure. Right.
Everybody
Exactly.
works for a living as well.
That's right.
But
Yeah.
but I tell you, most of us would say, I can't live without doing the music.
Right.
So
Right. So you're,
that's what I would say about those
yeah,
guys.
you're carving out that time. Right?
Yeah, you got
Absolutely.
it. Got it. That nurtures the soul.
Right. You've been playing for so long and honing your craft. I ask people, what are you still working on? What are you still learning and even practicing these days?
I'm learning more about positions of various, chords like C, C, C. There's various ways to play chords up and down the neck,
Sure.
and various ways to access different licks as a result of that. There's something called the circle of fifths There's, other things that when you begin to learn a little bit more about it, the fingerboard, the fretboard becomes a little bit more accessible. And a little bit more, I could do that this way, or I could do that. It would be easier if I played it up here than playing it down here.
Okay.
Or easier playing down here than playing up there. Sure. So that's, I'm getting more into that, of finding various positions to do some of the same things. And just finding, where does it take less effort? Because, I've had hand injuries along the way, and hand operations and such, pulley releases on tendons, and I have no thumb joints in either hand. They're gone.
They're gone. Right.
And what they do instead is, once they take that joint out, they open you up, they cut a flexor tendon, and they bring that, one of the flexor tendons, and they bring that down and roll it up like an anchovy and put it where the thumb joint used to be.
Wow, okay.
So I had my choice. He said, we can either fuse this thumb joint, but you won't be able to do anything with it.
Yeah.
Or we can do that other. I said, do the other. Right. Plan B. Because I still want to be able to play music.
Sure. Well, that's good.
I don't have as much stamina.
Sure.
So we used to youth used to play 15-song sets. We'd do 3 15-song sets.
Wow.
And that's a lot of songs,
Sure.
and a lengthy set. Yeah. And my hand finally. Well, I won't use the gesture on camera, but my hand said, "Screw you! I'm not gonna play that anymore."
No more.
So we had to cut back the sets down to like 12.
Sure.
And that way, the hand gets a rest.
Yes.
I can, stretch them out.
Yes. Yes.
And be able to, get them ready to play again.
Yeah.
So
you got to make it more manageable. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No question.
Well, that's what happens with age. The parts break down.
That's right.
Eric Clapton's last album, I don't know if you saw that, on the back of the album, he had an outbreak of eczema.
Yeah.
And literally, you see a photograph on that album of him with bandages on his hands, holding the acoustic guitar.
Amazing.
But there's bandages.
Yeah.
It's like,
that's
dedication.
That is dedication, right? Yeah. And he's talked about some back injury kind of stuff lately as well, right? So it happens with all instruments, guitarists, certainly drummers that I've talked to.
He was born in 1945.
Right. Yeah.
So, he is now, 70? He'll be 72.
Right, coming up at the end of March, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's left for you? What kind of goals do you have that you just want to do for the rest with music, the rest of your career?
I would like to. It would be nice to be able to do an album of my own, and just have release it either on digital online, or even do CDs. Maybe even press a CD.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
That would be awesome. Yeah.
And just do some of my original material.
That'd be great. When's that coming up?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
You heard it here first on Musicians on the Record.
Hi, guys. It's something I want to do, okay?
That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you've talked about your history, some of the challenges that you've gone through. Can you say a little bit for future generations, people watching this in the future, what do you think the top 3-4 things about being a good musician are? What advice would you give to up-and-coming musicians?
There was a Rolling Stone interview some years back with Pete Townsend from The Who. And they asked him a similar question. They said, what would your advice be to up-and-coming guitar players or whoever else? And he said, go back to the roots. And he says, and I'm not just talking about Led Zeppelin.
Right.
Because where did Led Zeppelin get their stuff?
Exactly.
They went back. Where did the Rolling Stones get their stuff?
That's right.
They went back.
That's right.
Where did the Beatles get their stuff? They got stuff from people coming in on ships in Liverpool, bringing in American records of the old blues artists.
That's right. Howland Wolf, Muddy Waters.
Ringo loved Lightnin' Hopkins.
Yeah, right.
That was one of his favorite musicians. So go way, way, way back. Listen to, Robert Johnson. Listen to Mississippi John Hurt, the country blues. Listen to some of the... Sippy Wallace was great, I think, women be wise, keep your mouth shut, don't advertise your man. You gotta be looking back to that old stuff and getting that understanding of why and where and how.
Right.
because that's what people build on. And Clapton, when I saw him in an interview, when he was doing a piece, they played it, I think it was at Carnegie Hall, was it? Or no, it was at one of the centers in New York City, and he was with, what the heck is his name? Jazz trumpet player.
Miles Davis?
No, not Miles. Newer.
Marsalis? Brandon?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
He was with
Brandon
Wynton Marsalis.
Wynton Marsalis, yeah.
And they were playing New Orleans jazz.
Okay.
And Clapton said at one point in the video, he says, I'm so grateful because I feel totally at sea. And you could see there where with one or two of the tunes, he was a little lost. But for the rest of the time, he held his own.
Wow.
And he said, I just want to thank these guys for this experience. It's just a great experience.
Amazing.
And then they did another song, and then after that, Wynton Marsalis says, "Nah, hold on a second." He
There's
says,
more.
I got to give props to Mr. Clapton because we were playing a tune, and he told me I was playing it wrong.
Oh.
And I got ticked, he said, and I said, no, I'm not. He says, no, you're playing it wrong. It goes this way. And he said, no, it goes this way. And they had this argument, and so Wynton looks at the rest of his bandmates, and he goes, so who's playing it wrong? And they all pointed to Marsalis. And he's going, and he says, not only did Clapton point that out, he brought in the tune the next day. He says, Clapton is a walk-in encyclopedia of the blues.
Yeah.
So he literally knows thousands upon thousands of songs. Yeah. So
So go back.
Go back to the roots.
Yeah.
Specifically of the style that you're going for. But understand that underneath all of that is the blues. Right. And if you've looked at the band's album, The Last Waltz, they're interviewing Levon Helm, and he's saying it's kind of like a mix of gospel, old Akkadian music, which actually, Cajun is actually Akkadian, you know, and Irish folk music and blues and, you know, other stuff. And Scorsese's saying, so what are you talking about? What do you call that? And he goes, rock and roll, man.
Right.
Because it's a synthesis
right.
of a whole bunch of different kinds of music. But I think blues, gotta listen to blues. Got to listen to blues.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And listen to R&B. Because R&B, you know, and I understand hip hop and rap, and that's like the latest stuff.
Sure.
But if you're really wanting to play a musical instrument and wanting to do this more musically, then listen to the older stuff like Temptations, Four Tops, you know, a lot of the old Motown stuff. Listen to the girl bands.
Right.
Oh my God, they were
Supremes
great.
were fantastic, right? Yeah. Ronettes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Anything else that you would recommend for up and coming musicians?
Practice.
Right.
Yep. Get the 10,000 hours in.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get the 10,000 hours in.
Also, I keep hearing when I interview folks, all of those things, going back to the roots, definitely you got to be good at your craft. Can you talk about also the art of the hang? Being a good hang, whether, you know, in a band, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, say a little more.
Well, that to get along with the other kids, basically, right?
Mm-hmm.
And be a good band member, good team member, because nobody wants to hang out with somebody who is, you know, critical, judgmental, whatever all the time. And
Yeah, I mean, I remember being a bit of a control freak earlier and saying, "Now you're playing this wrong, you're playing that wrong," and you know, and then they're going, "What are you talking about? Listen to it." Yeah. And we listen to it, and I go, "Oops." You're right. I'm wrong. So, but the ability to admit that you're wrong.
Sure. Right.
The ability to say, "Okay, I thought it went this way, but it doesn't.
Right.
It goes this way."
Yeah.
And to be open to some feedback from other people. Mm-hmm. And I think bottom line is, are we into this to have fun?
Right.
You know, are we here to have a good time? Yes, it's going to take some work.
Right.
Of course.
Yeah.
Got to hone your own craft if you want to be a contributing part of the band.
Yeah.
But the goal is to have fun.
Absolutely.
And man, do I still have fun.
Right. Yeah.
I have lots of fun.
That is the bottom line, right? That is
And learn to get along with your bandmates.
Yeah.
Understand their quirks. Be willing to hear feedback from them about your own quirks that they point out to you that you may not see. There's an old, adage of if you spot it, you got it.
Right.
It's like if I'm going to accuse somebody else about it, I better be able to own that I do it too, whatever that is.
That's right. Sure.
So that's where humility comes in, and staying humble. Because yes, there's a lot of ego in music.
Sure.
But when you see folks who can be humble and still put that ego in the proper direction to feed the song, to feed the music, to feed the whole, there is a synergy that occurs when bands are in it. I mean, I was telling you a little bit about this, but we played a song, a version of John Hiatt's Feels Like Rain, 2 months ago at Frog and Turtle. And it was the last song, and it's one of Phil Davinsky's favorite songs, and it's one of my favorite songs, and I play slide on that, play lap steel on that. And when we were done, there was a magic to that song. The synergy is that it's greater than the sum of the parts. Is that there was, by the time we were done, the people that were left in the club were standing up and cheering. Standing ovation. And 2 or 3 came up and said, that was a religious experience.
Wow.
So when you feel that fuel, when you understand, wait a minute, I'm playing at the top of my level, or maybe even above that.
Right.
And I'm feeling the energy from the audience, and I'm hearing and feeling the energy from my bandmates, and we're not even saying anything. It's just the music. That synergy, boy, that is a spiritual experience. That's when you're playing better than your own capability, and you know it, and you're just channeling that energy and feeding it back and forth the loop with the audience.
Right.
So
sounds incredible.
I think there's some universal energy.
Right.
There's a book written by a gal named Manjir Samantha Lawton, and it's called Punk Science Inside the Mind of God. And she talks about being at the particle accelerator when they found the God particle that they were looking for. The Higgs boson or whatever.
Right.
Anyway, she said, you can take all the theories you want. You can take relativity theory, string theory, systems theory, all of that. But she said, what we're looking at now is something called tendencies. And she said, there's something that we're realizing, there's some energy that underlies all of this that intends us goodwill. And when we weren't looking for it, we couldn't find it. It wasn't there. But when collectively we were looking for it, it showed up right where we were looking for it. So there's that energy that intends us goodwill, I think. You can call it God, you can call it universal consciousness, you can call it whatever you want to call it.
Sure.
But it's a creative energy. I mean, it's an energy that supports creativity, I think, and supports intention.
Yes. Right.
So,
can you actually talk a little bit about your creative process when you're writing your own tunes? How do you even go about that?
Okay, yeah. Normally it's a guitar riff or two, and I play around with the guitar riffs a little bit. And then there's a melody that sort of comes into it. And then it's, okay, so what am I wanting to say? What's my mood right now? What's the muse saying? What am I inspired to actually say? And then, then it's, okay, so now how can I make it rhyme, and how can I, what is it going to be? Is it going to be a verse and a chorus and then a bridge and then another? Is it going to be 2 verses and a chorus and then another verse and a chorus and then a bridge and then another verse? Or is it going to chorus and out? What feels good? What feels good in that regard? And for me, it's usually been 2 verses and a chorus, another verse and a chorus, a bridge, maybe some instrumental stuff somewhere in there. And then another chorus or 2 and out, But every song asks for something different, and it has to do with your mood. But usually it's a riff or 2 that starts, and then a melody line that comes, and then the lyrics come.
So the music first, the guitar first, then the lyrics.
unless I'm in a mood and I've got some sort of lyric that comes to me, and then I just write out the lyric and I, okay, so how would that scan into a tune, and what kind of chords would I use around that, and what is it? So sometimes the lyrics come first.
Yeah, amazing.
Just a line or two.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Awesome.
And if you haven't guessed already, it's a ballad.
Nice.
And it's about a place in Maine. There's a place in the North Country where I often go, nestled among the trees by the sea, where the soft winds blow. I long to be there. I often want to know what it is that draws me back there every year. Would you come with me tomorrow? Since I was a child, I've known you. I may have only seen you every other year, but there's something kind of soothing in the air that seems to make every memory reappear. I long to be there. I often want to know what it is that draws me back there every year. Would you come with me tomorrow? It's a home away from home, a place to let your thoughts run free, a place to be when you need to be alone, to sit and watch the sunset through the trees. But sail away on a bitter foggy day. It's just a shade less painful when you do, 'cause it's easy to remain another day when the sea reflects a sky so rich and blue. I long to be there. I often long to know what it is that draws me back there every year. Would you come with me tomorrow? It's a home away from home, a place to let your thoughts run free, a place to be when you need to be alone, to sit and watch the sunset through the trees.
Awesome. The healing power of music, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And maybe the God Particle was playing the bridge or the break in Whole Lot of Love too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Howland Bickerstaff, I'm so grateful to have you on the show. Thank you so much for being on Musicians on the Record. It's a real pleasure.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Yeah,
Pleasure to spend the time with you.
absolutely.
And pleasure to see you after.
Yeah, I know, right? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
A long time.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you.